Hey guys, welcome to Maysie's Algebra Initiative. My name is Maysie and I am going to teach you the Unit 1 topics for Algebra 1. This includes, here's our overview. First we're going to go over natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, and irrational numbers. Next we're going to move on to multiplying negative numbers with my friend negative man. After that, I'm going to teach you all the distributive property. Okay, first off, natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Natural numbers are all positive integers, which are just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And as you look down to the number line, I have it highlighted here in red, matching what it's written in. Whole numbers are all natural numbers, including 0. So this blue line here on the number line includes 0 and everything else. So examples, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth. Integers include all the whole numbers plus the negative integers, which is like negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. None of these numbers have decimal places. Rational versus irrational. Irrational numbers are all integers with the addition of terminating decimals, and it also includes repeating decimals. So decimals that don't end, but repeat in a pattern, and usually indicated by some fancy line like that, as you see down here on the 1.6. And that just means that number is 1.666666 to the end of time. Examples of turning numbers are 0, 1, negative 2.3. This is an example of a terminating decimal. And 1/2 is equal to 0.5, which is a terminating decimal as well. Irrational numbers include non-terminating decimals, all non-terminating decimals that aren't repeating decimals. An example of this is pi, which is 3.14, and those are the first 3 numbers of it, and it just goes on forever and ever and ever. Another thing you might see is this weird I thing. That just stands for an imaginary number, and is also an example of an irrational number. Now I have some practice problems for y'all. You'll identify if the number is natural, whole, an integer, rational, or irrational. It can be more than 1. So if you guys want to work them out, pause the video now and then unpause the video when you want the answers. Okay, so here are the answers. We got 2 is natural, whole, integer, and rational. 0 is whole, integer, rational. Negative 1 is just integer and rational. 1/4 is equal to 0.25, which is a terminating decimal, which means it is just rational. And pi, as we indicated in last slide, is a never-ending decimal that does not repeat in any pattern, so it is irrational. Okay, we're moving on to multiplying with negatives. Our first step is to draw a negative man. This is where you guys are going to meet my friend negative man. Negative man looks like this. You can draw him off the side of your page on these problems. He has his eyes and his nose, and it looks like 2 negative signs and a positive sign. Now our second step, let me choose a different color. Our second step is to identify the sign of each term. Okay, so the 12 up here is a negative 12, and since there's no sign in front of the 2, it is positive. And our third step is to cross out signs on negative man. So we have the negative, so I'm going to cross out a negative, and then we have the positive, so I'll cross out the positive, and I circle what's left. And that indicates my final product is going to be a negative number. So step 4 is just to multiply normally and add the sign indicated by negative man. So 12 times 2 is 24, and the sign given by negative man is a negative, so the answer is negative 24. Now, here's some examples, and I'll work them out with you. So my step 1 is to draw a negative man. I'll just do this one first. So this is a positive number, that's a negative. So I'm going to cross out the positive and the negative. Multiply them normally, 4. Add the negative sign from negative man, so I know it's negative 4. Now down here, I'm just going to repeat the same process. I got a negative and a negative this time, so I cross out the two negatives. I have a positive number, 3 times 3 is 9, and it's going to be a positive 9. Now here's some practice problems. Y'all can practice, and if you want to work these on your own, just pause the video right now and unpause it for the answers. Okay, so here are the answers. It was negative, negative, so it's going to be positive 8, positive, negative, so it's going to be a negative 15, and negative, positive, so it's going to be a negative 20. Okay, we're moving on to our next topic, which is the distributive property. We use this to solve algebraic expressions, which means solve for x. So our first step is going to be to distribute. And when I mean distribute, it's kind of like multiplying, but like you have to distribute. See, I distribute the 2, so I multiply each term by 2. So I'm going to get 2x plus 5, not 5, but 10, because 2 times 5 is 10, is equal to 20. Our next step is just solve for x like any old normal algebraic problem. So I'm going to subtract 10 to cancel it out. These are my combining like term step for anyone who remembers this. I'm going to divide by 2 to solve for x, because that crosses that out. X is equal to 5. Now, step 3, which I highly encourage, is the check step, just to make sure you did it right, and you do this by plugging in your given x, what you found, into the original equation. So that's what I'm going to do. X was 5, what I found, so it's equal to 20. 2 times 10 is equal to 20. 20 is equal to 20. And you could put a check mark or a smiley face or whatever, or a star, whatever lets you know, make sure that you checked this step. Now, here's the second example. This one involves a negative number here and a negative here, so you got to be careful, and you can even use negative man here if you need it, to multiply this properly. So we're going to do our first step, which is distribute. Negative 3x. Negative 3 times a negative 4 is going to be a positive 12. You can check that with negative man up here. Negative, negative, positive. They were both negative numbers. So positive is equal to 15. Negative 12, so we solve for x. We're going to do our solve step. Should have done this in another color. So negative 3x is equal to 3. X is equal to negative 1. And then we will do our check step. Negative times a negative, as indicated by negative man, is going to be a positive, so it's going to be 15 to the 15. Woohoo! So you got to watch out for those negative numbers. Okay, example 3. Step 1, distribute. So it's going to be 2 multiplying that, but you also have to account for this. This negative is going to be attached to this 2, so it's going to multiply to each term. So it's going to be 1 minus 2x, and make sure this negative goes to the second term. Minus 2 is equal to 7. Now, we're going to solve for x. First, combine these like terms, so it's going to be negative 2x minus 1, because a positive 1, negative 2 is going to be a negative 1, is equal to 7. So negative 2x is equal to plus 1 is equal to 8. X is equal to negative 4 because I divided negative 2. And then we're going to check. So 1 minus 2, negative 4 plus 1 is equal to 7. I just plugged in my x. So 1 minus 2 times negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times that negative 2 is just going to be a positive 6. So 1 plus 6 is equal to 7. 7 is equal to 7. Smiley face. Or check, or star, or heart, whatever floats your boat for your check step. You just put it there just to make sure that you did, after all, check. So, here's some practice problems. If you want to work these out on your own, then pause the video now and then unpause the video when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so here are the answers, and here's some of the work. I didn't include the check step, but you should always do the check step. It is very, very important. Well, thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you learn something new today. And I hope that you watch more videos to learn more things. And I hope this helped you. Bye. Oh yeah, once again, this is Maysie Calzone from Maysie's Algebra Initiative, signing off.